Hey folks, pecktec here, and I'm reporting to you from my garage. My garage has been cleaned and is ready for projects. So in today's video, it's going to be a little bit of a mashup. We recently had our first aquarium convention in Knoxville, Aquaticon. We're going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to show you around my garage. I've just straightened it up. I think every fish person, if you've been in the hobby for a while, you've got kind of your stash of aquarium stuff. And after more than a decade of doing different projects, both on YouTube and just in general, and having lots of fish, I've acquired a lot of stuff. Now, I've recently purged a lot of it when I went to the fish swap a couple of weeks ago, but I still have a bunch of stuff here, and if you're curious, we're going to take a little look around my garage. And of course, if you're like, oh hell no, there are timestamps down below. You can totally skip over that and you won't break my heart at all. The last thing I'm going to talk about is a new project that I'm working on with this tank. I got a lot of attention, and even at Aquaticon this weekend got a lot of questions on this little split tank and maybe what I'm going to do with it. So right at the end of the video, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at my garage. Okay guys, here we are. Garage 2.0. I do have it set up to shoot a little video about these two aquariums. Yeah, I got a couple little projects going on here. I'm just flattening some streets out here for board game stuff. Now normally this camera stuff wouldn't be there, but of course, like I said, I'm about to shoot a video. This is that cube tank and a couple of other little aquariums and other things. I've got them kind of pushed aside for a future project. Got all my, this is a bag I've had forever that I keep a lot of my stands in, my light stands and stuff like that. I've mounted this thing to the table. These are my older lights, they're kind of big. I've mounted this one to the table. I've got another one on a C stand over here that's called a Sentry stand. These are the professional grade stands, very sturdy, go really tall. I've got it kind of beyond the garage door threshold here. This is one of my lights. I use these lights a lot. They're great. You can adjust the color and make it real warm or real cool, and the intensity in a very granular way. You kind of can with these too by switching things off and on, but that's not so great. I've got this old drill press. I just don't have another place to put it, and it's kind of a piece of equipment that I'd never buy. This was given to me by my father some time ago. We've got these two aquariums. We'll talk more about this in a little bit. Look at my nice big work area. Got all my buckets kind of sorted out, put away. This is how I keep my hose. I just have a piece of PVC running into here. I really could... there's probably a lot smarter ways to keep their hose. But this has been working. This was kind of just a quick fix to get the hose off the floor for me inside of here. I've got all kinds of stuff in here. This is mostly hoses and filter parts and stuff like that. Whenever I have a piece of canister filter or something like, you know, or some extra hosing or something like that, or spray bar or something like that left over, it tends to end up in this box or on top of the box to remind me to put it in the box, which we'll do now. Yeah, similar for this one too. Again, more hoses and filter stuff. This is much the same as this box. Just have a lot of it. Probably a great deal of this would be worth going through and filtering out a little bit more, but I couldn't be bothered. I have a lot of quick grab stuff. A lot of these are new things that I haven't implemented, and things I kind of had aside for some future projects. Of course, mixed in here is this like water clarifier from Marineland and a UV filter. This is a little box filter. That's a UV filter. I've used it whenever, if I have a problem, like I see ick or something like that in the tank, it like never happens. But occasionally it'll happen. And I'll use that to kind of help it out. I got a little power source for a light. This is that grinder I use to make the Wabikusa balls. These are pieces of plastic for a future project. I'll never do, but you know, I don't even know what's in here. I can't get it open. And inside of here, hang on the back filters. Hang on the back filters that I've kept, or you know, have for one piece or another if I need replacement parts. I've got my substrate and substrate working materials. Well, this is charcoal that's mainly for terrariums and stuff. But I have I've got full filter sand, some aragonite, shoved it down in there. I've got my soil if I'm going for the father fish, through the flower horn sort of thing. This is like coarse gravel. This was like false bottom stuff for terrariums. That could be aquarium stuff too, I guess, potentially. We've got the kitty litter for the Novak anoxic stuff that I was working on before. And this is just a big, huge bag of lava rock. A lot of great uses for that, for filtration and creating a coarse bottom and stuff. That's another option too. All kinds of useful stuff. As we go up here, of course, we got the drill. I just haven't found a place to put this drill. I need to find a place for you. Got a timer. I have timers everywhere. Put you right there. So up here I've got some onyx sand, got some decorative gravel. What have I got in here? Oh, this is that father fish mix for dirted tanks and stuff. I've got some clay. Again, that's great for that. More aragonite. I've got this aqua sand substrate. Pretty cool. I've got quite a bit of that, and I've got this Supernaturals sand. This is the fancy sand. I love this sand, but it's so expensive. Saving that for something special. And we got Baby Yoda here in case we get bored and want to fly him around. And I've got a little bit of soil here, a little bit of stratum, I guess, colloidal stratum. Not a bad little soil. It seems to work. That's sort of my substrate area. Oh. Okay. If this garbage can here is for just for soaking this wood, I haven't gotten around to it yet. I've got an aquarium stand over here. I've got some tables here. These are old tables I painted on quite a lot. They're now project tables, chairs for picnics. So over here I've got my hardscaping materials. It's kind of hardscaping materials plus, because a few other things have kind of wandered in here. Got some manzanita, an old fish bowl. Of course, I got my this thing. I'm about ready to start doing some brine shrimp again in there. An aquarium I missed that I would have sold at the aquarium swap if I had found it in time. Lots and lots of this ghost wood and some manzanita wood, some like I guess sandblasted manzanita wood. In here, still more wood. A lot of this is kind of used stuff that I've used before, mixed in with some little ornaments, and I'll see one ornament in there, a busted ornament, and some other stuff. The turtle shell. This is a fake ceramic turtle shell. I was wanting to work into something. And over here we got all kinds of stone, mostly dragon stone, but a few other things. I try to recycle as much as possible. A little bit of this is probably brand new, but most of this is stuff I've pulled out of other tanks and stuff. And then I've got it broken out too into smaller pieces in here for the more granular parts. Got a few more hardscaping things in here. And some ornaments and stuff, some projects, some versions of projects that didn't really work or never really finished in here. More rock. This is a whole set of rock that I got to use for a project, and I haven't done it yet. I thought this was a really cool looking stone. I'm trying to remember, I can't really remember what it's called. I love the striations and stuff in it. This is what's left of the Wabikusa balls. More on this in a minute. I kind of kept those old Wabikusa balls that I pulled out from the steampunk tank, but I don't know. We're going to take another look at that again for maybe the next project. Down below, what did I put in here? Oh yeah, I put mostly anything with a pump on it. Anything that had small pumps or pond pumps and those sort of things, those all ended up in there. These are all kind of empty boxes for the most part. This is just a pile of empty boxes. Now these are handy, like when you're working on a project, maybe you want to put plants or something like that, and I'll grab a bunch of these and pull them aside. And the ones with lids, I can actually put plants, you know, when I'm harvesting plants, I could put a little bit of water in here, put a lid on it, and it won't evaporate super fast. And it's a handy way to move plants from one tank to another, maybe for a planting project. And I got some glass lids kind of stowed away. Here I've got my 55, which is also holding a bunch of water jugs. I'm just kind of storing it right here for now. This is going to be pulled out. And normally there's another thing here where my drill normally is, and a bunch of other stuff. It's a cart that I've pulled this cart out to use for Aquaticon this weekend. This I'm going to pull out, and I'm going to stick all the big fish from the 210 in here for a project this summer, and I'm going to redo the 210. So this is going to be coming out. So this will be coming out really soon, and I'll be using that to migrate some stuff around. Over here, a couple more, another aquarium that survived the purge. This one I wanted to keep because I'm not quite done with that. But I found two more specs. Like I think I sold maybe 4 or 5 of these at the swap, and I found 2 more, weirdly enough. Yeah, up here I've got the fish traps, these kind of crazy fish traps. I've been meaning to use these. I had kind of a problem with this one. When I tried to use it, it broke. But anyway, I've got a plan to fix this, and I've got a fancier one that supposedly it works really well too. So we'll be trying that out. They're all kind of beta prototype things, so they don't work perfect. Don't have big expectations, okay? Right here is my grow out stuff. So I've got some plants. This is all like from terrarium projects. I did a video about making these. This is a moss propagation bin. I've actually been storing some pieces of glass that I need to safely dispose of on top of here. Yeah, but I've been growing different types of moss and stuff in here. I've got springtails and things like that going too. If you'll be able to see it or not. Yeah. And in this one I've got some Anubis and some other plants and stuff. These are basically garage terrariums. I didn't take them inside in the wintertime or anything, and I've got these like really cheap lights. These are some of the first lights I ever bought that had LEDs in them from China, and they look too crappy to put on an aquarium, but man, they worked okay strapped up here. I give you a link, but I literally bought these more than a decade ago, and I doubt you'd find them again. Here I've got a worm culture going. These are These are white worms, but I think I've messed up the culture. I need to keep it a little cooler. It was about 40 degrees in the garage. It was pretty cool through the winter in the garage, so I thought maybe this would be appropriate, but it's starting to warm up in here, and I think I messed this culture up, but more on that later. We've got other miscellaneous supplies, some planter boxes and stuff that I had some plans for. And through here, I've tried to group my aquarium supplies in specific ways. I do have like some random things like this that should really go over to the terrarium shelf. But in here I've got botanicals. Let's pull some stuff out. So right here I've got botanicals. This is kind of what I have left of all the botanical stuff that I've done. Quite a few pods and things left in here. Really nice for making a good natural tank. Random pH test kit. This seems like it's some enclosures. Got a little random ornament in here. One of those little shrimp bricks. That's how shrimp steal cars. Alright, some more little enclosures. In fact, did I not see? Yes. You belong in there, and I saw something else. There we go. Everything in its place. You are underwater LED light. Oh, there. And grease pencils. That's not useful. Okay. Yeah, so now we got little hides. And I guess a filter. You know what? Fuck. There we go. So this now somewhat wasted space is all hides. Now it's hides and ornaments that I probably won't use. All right. Over here, this is that background stuff. If you want a white background, it kind of sticks onto there. And this is sold as shelf liner, but it's pretty handy to put under your aquarium if you want a little mat to kind of make a nice little surface. And this is a super absorbent material I use to wipe up messes. A lot of this is like, in truth, board gaming stuff. This is that pink stuff insulation I cut up to do the vivarium, for the vivarium challenge for my gecko tank. But a lot of this I've kept to do like wargaming stuff. This is something I found at a yard sale. I thought was cool. I had this hanging up in my cubicle for a while. Down here, I've got some LED light stuff. This was that Current USA Serenity thing. It had the crappy speakers and stuff on it. I lost the controller somehow, so this is kind of like unusable until I find it, and I'm not sure I will find it. As we look inside of here, you'll see these are other lights that I've used. And I have available to use and stuff for different projects. This is one I made myself. A little LED light bar. I actually have another LED light bar in here someplace. You can live in here now. Alright. Tidy that up a little bit. As we go further back in here, we have air-driven stuff. This is all stuff for air things. Like here's a sponge filter thing. I think this is what I used one of these to do my little waterfall. That's what that is. That's why it's in pieces. I've got a regulator and a UV filter. These are just kind of some random things back in there. I think I skipped over here. I've got a box here, and this is This is more CO2 stuff. Got some CO2 approved hosing. Got some little diffusers. Some different diffusers and stuff I haven't used yet. This is all stuff I've got squirreled away for a future project. A small regulator. Yeah, I got big plans for that. I think I'll put this pH test in here since I usually use that to judge CO2. So it kind of works. And over here I've got part 2 of the air-driven stuff. I've got hoses and air pumps galore in here. Here's that little aquarium co-op pump. That thing is so useful, very useful. In fact, I might pull that out and use it for something else. I got another little pump in here. If I store it all, oh, I see why this wasn't in there. There's just no room for it. Okay. All right. I like storing things in these like little translucent boxes. It keeps them dust free and it helps me organize it a little bit. Oh, back here, here's the big light bar that I made. This thing melted right through my my aquarium panels and stuff, so I got to figure out a better way to mount it. And it might be a good replacement light for these things. Or if I want to do a second one here on this, because this is kind of a neat way to grow plants and stuff. As we get further down, a lot of this is like, these are products I haven't gotten around to using. They're mostly new. These again, this is sort of the miscellaneous drawer. I've got a lot of stuff in here that I've bought and haven't used yet. I was eager to use. Some my aquarium box stuff, some filter foam. This is that matin filter stuff. More air pumps. In fact, I'll put that other one in here. I've got so many of these timers these days. Like a lot of the lights are kind of automated. So a few neat things in there. Oh, this is something I've wanted to use for a long time too. I bought this, and it's a glass feeder. I think I talked about it. I unboxed it and showed it, but it's one of the, it's like basically a glass tube that you can use to direct food down to a specific area. And then here's more stuff that I didn't end up using. There's a little pre-filter thing. I was thinking about making a little anoxic filter out of that, like a BCB filter. Out of that, I've got these fluval, these are magnetic cleaners and stuff. I'm a little scared of these things, so I haven't installed them or anything, because they have the metal blades and stuff. Random aquarium heater I haven't ended up using. Random net, more stuff. A lot of this is my aquarium box stuff, like the leftovers that I didn't end up using out of that. This is an aqua lifter. I keep having projects that I'm like, oh, this would be perfect for it, but then I don't end up using it. We'll see if it ends up ever being used. This is a kind of a fancier air pump that I bought a while back, and I haven't found a great use for it. This is a great big 300-watt heater. And this is a pH test. This is a digital pH test. And I had plans to do a video and stuff with this, and I never got around to it. That's kind of the way it goes. Kind of the way it goes with YouTube stuff. Sometimes you get things, and you're excited about it, and then suddenly you're not. This last box is, well, it's pretty much empty. I really need to repurpose this. I'd kind of forgotten about this, but I cleaned out most of this box during my last show. I've got a egg tumbler, which is really cool. I have a project in mind for that. I've got some biomatrix stuff, some filter material. I love this stuff. It's really good. Some bags that I actually need those today, and filter bags. Just a couple, like all of this is stuff from my aquarium box. A lot of this is stuff from my aquarium box. I had a whole bunch of chemicals and stuff in here, like fertilizers and stuff like that, and I sold or gave away a lot of that at the last meetup. Also up here is a DIY CO2 kit. I have not given up on that. I'm waiting to see where I'm going to put that. But I am going to use it one day. I promise. And that's basically it. A nice little look through my garage. I went through every nook and cranny of my my aqua garage. Now I didn't do the other side, but the other side is a little bit cleaner than it used to be. But it's still, I mean, it's kind of a garage. I still have stuff to haul away. I spent a good day and a half, like pulling things out of here and reorganizing. And you see, there's still, as we go along the way, there's still little things here and there that I missed. But I'm excited to get the room cleaned up and get ready for some future projects. I got some really cool things to do over here, so hopefully you'll tune back in for that soon. And there you have it, folks. So this weekend I had some fish tubers over to the house to kind of hang out and socialize a little bit. There was a few folks that came in from out of town, and man, it was so much fun having you all over to the house. I really appreciate you taking the time to hang out with me and talk tanks, talk YouTube, and just kind of get to know one another. That was a lot of fun. I didn't really take any pictures or vlog or anything. I kept it real low key and just like you know, just people getting to know each other and hanging out. It was a lot of fun. As far as Aquaticon goes, my event went pretty well. I managed to get through, I guess technically my second public speaking event, but my first time at a convention doing a demonstration. Of course, I talked about substrate and a little bit about hardscape and stuff like that. I stopped short of putting plants in because I knew someone would be winning that tank and taking it away, and I didn't want to make it more difficult, you know, with a tank full of water and plants to try and get it out, especially if it was only going to be there for a few hours. I did have a lucky winner, and I helped them out to the car with the tank, and I think that they were super pleased to get it. It was a big hit at the show. The show was a bit smaller than a lot of the other conventions that I've been to, but you know, it's not really surprising. It was its first year. There were a few hiccups, understandable hiccups, here and there with the show, but I had a great time. Holly's booth did super, super well. She sold a lot of art and came out ahead on her prints and all that stuff, so we can't complain. It was a really great first show for her. It was a really good way to kind of get your feet wet and into these kind of conventions and stuff. As for the crowd in general, it was surprisingly large. I think that for a show that didn't get a lot of attention, that wasn't, and like again, no fault if it's no, it wasn't promoted out or spoken of like a lot everywhere I saw. I thought it did good, and there are a lot of people kind of coming in from out of town and the surrounding areas and stuff, all kind of coming together to do fishy stuff, and there needs to be more of that. Speaking of people that get together to do fishy stuff, my club was there, and I had a lot of guys. I bought this shirt. I love this shirt, by the way. Thank you, guys. They're kind of there doing their part to kind of get that information out there and get people together, and we're going to be meeting again. I've met so many interesting people through the club, and at least one or two of them we're going to be talking to in the future. So Fluval did send me a tank, and we're going to be at the club setting it up in a few months. I'm not sure if it's not next month, I don't think, but maybe the next month we're going to do that at a club meeting, and there'll be a video there. I'm going to try to videotape this one. It'll be a little bit like my presentation at Aquaticon, but Tanner, another club member who's very talented, by the way, is going to be planting it out. So I'm going to kind of take it from the substrate and maybe some hardscape. Then he's going to finish it out with plants, and it should be a really, really cool video. If you'd like to see my presentation, it was filmed by another YouTuber, and I'm going to put a link. Thank you, Susan, for doing that. I'm going to put a link to her channel down below, or the video down below, so you can check it out if you want. Final thoughts on Aquaticon. Well, you know, I thought it came out pretty good. Like, overall, it was pretty decent. It can only go up from there, though. There are definitely ways to improve it. The freshwater people that did show up, they sold a lot of their stuff, maybe all of their stuff. I haven't confirmed with everyone that I saw there, but I saw a line in front of Dustin's booth like a lot of the day. Grant Ender from Garden of Ender was there slinging his shrimp and selling shrimp and stuff, and he seemed to do super well there too. Hopefully he did well. I was sending people to your booth all weekend, man, and I wish I could have got some of those blue dreams before they went out. They went out quick. I'm looking forward to whatever the future brings for Aquaticon and events like that here in Knoxville. So I'm excited and hopeful. Thank you very much to Kenny from Aquatic Marine, who's kind of who's leading the charge on that particular event, and I applaud your efforts, man. It's not easy. Okay, so last but not least, this is where I'm at. Okay, last but not least, this is where I'm at with the with my crab enclosure. So I want to make a semi-terrestrial, semi-aquatic environment for crabs. And I was thinking maybe vampire crabs or the Halloween crabs, but I believe they get fairly big, probably bigger than I'd want to put in the enclosure that I'm thinking about making. And I've kept pom-pom crabs once before, but I believe I kept them incorrectly. I was always told they were fully aquatic. Later on, some viewers, people from the areas where these crabs are from, are like, no, they come up on the land. We eat them. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm going to try again, and I'm going to do it more appropriately, and I'm going to build something sort of creative with it. So a lot of people saw this video. This was kind of like, I got this at PetSmart, and I felt almost a little ashamed because it's kind of a kitschy little, gimmicky little tank. But I thought it might be kind of neat, and I made a video about unboxing it, and it was like really, really popular. Way more popular than I expected. I honestly never know what people are going to actively consume. And I thought it was neat too, and I thought it had a lot of potential, so maybe I did kind of see something in this tank. But we're going to be doing a heavy overhaul on this. We're going to kind of take the groundwork for it, and we're going to redo a lot of different things on this tank. And one thing that I wanted was I don't know if I'm going to utilize this lid. I'm either going to paint it or going to cut holes in it, or I'm going to mess with it some. But it's awfully convenient, like it's already got a little frame that matches the top of this perfectly. It's got a couple little port doors. I don't care so much about this sort of thing. And it's got some built-in lights that I'll probably just remove. But what I want to do is I want to make a hole in the top of this, and I want to make a canopy so that I can have plants that grow up sort of like the steampunk tank. So I want to mimic some of the cool things that I like about the steampunk tank. I'm going to build up a platform on one side of this waterfall. I'm going to disguise some of the components and stuff like that, and make it so the water comes over here, it'll flow back this way. I might make the waterfall a little bit more picturesque, like some land buildup and stuff, and kind of have a way for crabs or creatures that I put in here. I also thought it might be a cool Mexican crayfish, those little orange crayfish. It might be a good environment for them too. But I'd like to make a way where it can crawl from one side to the other and kind of up into the little platform and stuff. And I want like some Wabikusa style balls or a little pyramid going over here with some plants growing up on top of that. Maybe a lot of buse plants. I love buse plants, and boy, they really like the little humid environments like that. Kind of got it all in my head what I want to do. It's just now I'm seeking out the components. Now for the canopy, that's been the really tricky thing. I really fell into the steampunk tank, that little glass canopy on that. I just happened to find it. It just happened to fit. There's no way to look up where they are or order another one. The fact is, even that one seems kind of small, like it gets too small real fast. As soon as the plants really start to take off, and just like they're all up against the glass, and it becomes kind of a pain. There's some really, really cool, huge Anubias and stuff that if I had the space, man, it would be neat. In fact, I pulled one out and I put it on top of that 27-gallon upstairs. I pulled it out and I put it in the back of one of my tanks upstairs, thinking it would probably dry out and stuff, but it hasn't. Instead, it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's quite a huge plant coming out of the back of this tank. So with that in mind, I remembered I was doing my purge, I was cleaning out all my stuff, and I came across this old project. Now, I don't know if you remember this. This is a planter, and I guess you would grow sort of maybe food plants and stuff in the top, and then it had a little beta in the bottom there. And I set this up and we grew some plants out of it and stuff. The problem is with me, like I kind of have a hang up about eating plants that I'm raising my fish in. It really wasn't for me, and I always kind of kept all this stuff. Like I broke this down. I got sick of it within a few months, and I broke it down. But I always kept all this stuff because I was like, yeah, these parts could really be used. I mean, especially this top part here, a nice little tray, you know, you take this off. So I really considered using this somehow. I mean, the tray in the top could possibly be engineered to kind of do some of the things I want, like bring the water up here, let it flow around, and then go in here. But I really want it to be more open. Like I want it to be like a whole, like I want the planted part to start like way down here, probably on this side, to start pretty low and then go up, and then to be able to see all that from the top. So I started looking at the tank itself and discovered, like, if I inverted it, it makes a nice clear canopy. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to clean this up before I make my final decision. I'm going to clean all this up. It's got a flat surface with some feet across the top, but if you kind of look at it, it's like the perfect shape to stick maybe one of those fluval lights on, or some other light. And these nubs even could be used to kind of offset the light and kind of get it off the plastic and up even a little bit more. But it's a nice flat platform for illuminating this whole thing. So I think that this might be what I needed. I've also got some other plastics and stuff if I want to take this lid off and like re-engineer this with my own lid. I'm not sure if cutting into this is going to like make it really super weak. It could be that my attempts to make the hole in here could just make the whole thing like kind of worthless. So with all that being said, I'm still kind of considering all my options, but that's kind of the direction I'm going in. This as a lid for the top of this thing, perhaps with some, you know, what I want to do is engineer some walls or something, maybe some clear walls or something to kind of, so this will set down and stay down. I might include a few other things here on the lid to kind of help keep this. I want to make it so it comes on and off. Oh, sorry, comes on and off really quickly and easily. That's been kind of inconvenient too with the steampunk tank, like getting in there and maintaining it. There's kind of a method that I've learned over the past couple of years, but it's not super easy, and it requires a lot of resetting once you're done. So I want to simplify all that, and then my biggest issue, where to put it. Basically, setting this tank up means another tank has to go. So I'm not quite sure which tank it's going to be or where I'm going to put it. So I have to find some space for this and create it. In the short term, I'm all right. I can actually build this out here in the garage, and then find a space for it inside once I've proven how beautiful it is. Find a space for it inside and then take it in there. But it could definitely be a garage project for at least a few months. It actually doesn't ever get super, super cold in here, so it's probably not a big deal. Oh, the other thing that this tank had is a little pump, and this pump is much more discreet than the big old 70s style box filter that came with this thing. So I'd really like to engineer sort of a secret way for the water to come back over here, not make it so obvious, and not make it very powerful either. And the way the water is returned is kind of an interesting little, it's an interesting little way they've got it set up here. I'm going to do something to try to complement that. and also keep the sound down, because it's real important to me that I don't like the trickly water sounds. As an aquarist, it sort of triggers me. I always feel like I hear something leaking if I hear water dripping anywhere in the house, and it really, my ears are very attuned to that. So yeah, needless to say, I've got lots of ideas. I'm a little slower on the videos lately, and I appreciate you guys' patience. I'm just trying to balance my life out a little bit. Yesterday, I went to work at 7:30 in the morning, and with only a few breaks, I didn't finish till 2:15 or so the next day. So just to give you a little bit of a notion about how busy I am outside of the hobby. Now, I'm not trying to make a bunch of excuses or anything. I just wanted to let you know, and let you know that I haven't given up on all this or anything. I'm just having to kind of move my resources around in different ways. That's about all I've got for you today. I'll be back soon with more videos. I've got videos here. These are all the aquarium videos I've ever made. Here's just something the algorithm thinks that you'll really like. And please subscribe. I'd love to see you again. Follow your bliss and keep a clean tank. I'll see you soon.